welcome to Anna Cramling's Grand Chess Gala! Oh, I am so excited for this. This has never been done before.
Greetings, chess fans. My name is Arturs Neiksans. I'm the leading Latvian chess grandmaster. Oops, I said it again. And I have prepared for you a very special video. Now, some of you may know that last weekend I was in Rotterdam, Netherlands. What was I doing there? I was participating in Twitch Rivals. So this year at Twitch Rivals, chess was one of the 3 main games, besides of Fortnite and Minecraft. And the host of the event was Anna Cramling. So Anna Cramling, together with Virtual, decided to host Anna Cramling Grand Chess Gala, inviting 16 streamers and internet personalities to combat for a $50,000 prize fund. Now, the players were teamed together in 2, and we would play out the so-called hand and brain game. So what does it mean? 8 players, competitive players, and paired together with other content creators who maybe are not really that good in chess, but they love the game and want to give it a try. I was the brain, or any chess professional or high-rated player was the brain. You could give the command to your teammate who would be significantly low-rated player which piece or pawn to move. Like I would have to give a command. A knight, a pawn, a bishop, a king, etc. And then the teammate, based on his understanding, would have to figure out what to do with it. The time control, 5 minutes plus 5 seconds. And initially, the 8 teams, they were split in 2 groups. And from these groups, we would play round robin, 1 game against each other. So that would be 3 games. And the best 2 would qualify for the semifinal for only 1 game. And I had the honor to be paired together with C-Dawg. He won the PogChamps edition 2 years ago, back in 2023. And to be honest, I did not even know before the tournament that we are labeled as one of the favorites to win the tournament. Like I didn't really know what's going to be the rating of all of the players. So if the game would finish in a draw, the tiebreak would be the game accuracy. By the way, no games finished in a draw, to my knowledge, which probably is perfectly understandable. And I would like to show you some of the critical moments I had in the tournament. But first, check out this amazing compilation of feelings from the Rotterdam Arena.
Out the teams competing, they are going to grace this magnificent venue. It makes it even that little bit more spicy how they all had to walk past the chess piece trophy, by the way, which is a thing of beauty.
It's stunning, yeah, and it really locks your brain into the fact of what you're going to be doing. You see that, you want that, well, now you're going to have to fight for it. Looking at the players setting up right now, you can see they all are wearing headphones. That is so they can.
All right, now that we are back, let me show you a couple of most interesting moments. I'm going to start with the round 2 game of the pool matches. We are playing against Team Dina Belenkaya. Dina was playing together with Nim. Just showing very quickly what was the opening. This is what I had prepared Connor for. I had sent to him before the tournament a file, actually 2 files, what to play with white and what to play with black. I had taken into account his playing preferences, what he had played before, and what would be easiest to play in actual time control games, and also where the opposition, the brain of the opposition, would have difficulties to get the proper command, like which pawn to move, etc. Right? So I thought that we probably want to be on the same page. So I know what type of openings he plays, and he knows what I want him to say. Well, the point is, he didn't really prep it thoroughly. Like, he didn't have a lot of time, and he had looked at some things but not extensively. Like, this was one of the funny moments. He was supposed to play bishop before here, but he played bishop g5. And from this moment, actually, I was very impressed by Nim, who was Dina's partner. I think he said after the game that he was about 600 rated player, but it felt that he was more. He was really making some very good moves. And very quickly, we got in trouble. And now this was my job as the brain to give Connor the feeling, the ideas in which direction to take the game. So I wanted him to make the easy moves. For example, here, there's a pin. Now, myself, I would have played a short castle, but I said the bishop so that he understands the pin is there. So you won't get rid of the pin. So this is how we played it out. And maybe here, the critical moment, rook e8 was a very smart signal by Dina. Maybe she actually wanted to remove the rook from g4. What happened here is I castled to the king side, and this is something I regretted later, because again, that's the difference between me and my teammate. Like, I know there's no attack at the king side, but C-Dawg doesn't know that, right? So he played here knight d to f3, wasted a couple of tempies, and starting here, it started to look really bad. Like, black already was trying to play rook takes on h4, sacrifice rook, go for a king side attack. I said knight, and that's why Connor was able to pick up this move, knight g2, I was hoping for. Now, the funniest thing started to happen here. I realized we're in trouble, so Dina is just gonna say push pawn, f pawn, h pawn, etc. forward. We're completely toast, so we need to counterplay the queen side. So I was hoping that C-Dawg is gonna play c4, so I said a pawn. He played h3. I said a pawn. And usually when I was repeating a command a couple of times, this meant you gotta do something else. He did not pick this up. So he played a pawn, and he played a pawn. I was like, oh man, we're getting completely crushed. So after rook f2, black's attack was looking really scary. So I decided to find my try my final chance to go queen h5. Actually, I was very, very impressed that Connor found this very difficult move to play queen f5, target the pawn and go for some complications. e3, e2, I decided to sacrifice the piece. Queen takes on f7. Actually, you know, if I roll back a bit, I think here Dina made a colossal mistake. If she would have said queen, then Nim would have picked up the move queen e4, and after that we just have to resign. I have no good moves here. The point is after knight e3, there's simple queen e3. I cannot take the knight because of the pin. I'm toast. So I think Dina rushed here slightly, and that's the point. I mean, that's the entire fun of the event. And even though we're higher rated players, even us, the brains, we kept making mistakes because, again, we didn't really have a lot of time to think about. So what happened here, I gave up the piece, and by the way, here black is debilitating the forced checkmate. But if you're rated 600, it's not so easy for you to sacrifice the rook. Give a check, queen e3, queen e1, and queen g3 is a mate. I mean, it's not easy. Of course, Dina would have found it herself, but they gave a couple of checks. So this was a time scramble. We had about 1 minute. Here Nim played knight b4.
In the queen.
Oh my, that is instantly snap captured.
He just didn't understand what Dina wanted to say. Apparently Dina wanted to play knight d8 just in case secure the king and attack the rook. But knight b4 was played. The time scramble happened. There was a couple of tragic comedies here. Like I wanted C-Dawg to double the rooks on the 7th rank. He didn't understand it. He played this rook on c7. Now, after a6, I made a mistake. I should have understood that you need a knight. So knight f5, knight d6 would have been the safer choice. A couple of moves later, I realized, okay, we're in trouble here. Again, I gave a command, rook. I wanted C-Dawg to double the rooks on the 7th rank. He decided to go on the defense. And here I just decided, okay, listen, let's just go for initiative here. Ignore the knight, play d5. They picked up the knight. But I thought it's going to be easier to play this position in the time scramble. And this is exactly what happened. So there was a couple of checks. Connor was ignoring the pawn on b7 for some reason. And a couple of checks later, king c6. Here, Dina gave the command rook. but she can't do anything about it. Obviously, she means rook c2 check. Nim did not sense the danger. He took the pawn, and we delivered a mate.
Is going to be a win for anybody. Will this end in a draw? We don't know. Oh, there's a checkmate!
Checkmate one!
Rook B, checkmate!
Oh, he sees it!
What?
They turn it around!
Now, this was a major escape because it happened the second round. We had won earlier the very first round game, and I was totally sure we were lost. So somehow we managed to turn this around, and Connor was he was very happy. He was very happy. All right, let me show you the next game. Now, this game happened in the semifinals. We were teamed against team Alex Banzea together with Tubbo. Now, Tubbo was and is still the biggest content creator from all the participants. I believe his followership is something like 5 million at least on YouTube, etc. I didn't really check it, so Connor is in the second place. So, and he's also a pretty decent player. So we played out Ra Lopez. Again, I had a file I could give in Connor that after a6, you have to play bishop a4. He took on c6. I was like, okay, whatever. And before the tournament, we discussed this. I said to him, listen, even if you mix up, it's no big deal. You don't remember, we're going to figure it out. Here, Black decided to play b takes on c6. Actually, I don't know, this is a pretty interesting thing among the content creators because Nim was taking with the g-pawn to f6 in the previous game, and now Tubbo is doing exactly the same, not with the d-pawn, which is the best move, of course. I played a castle, and here, yeah, Black did not pick up the signal that he has to play d6 to protect the pawn, and yeah, Tubbo played c5. Of course, I grabbed the pawn, I gave the proper commands, knight, pawn, and again I was very happy for C-Dawg to pick up the move h3 because I did not really want him to find a situation when Black plays bishop g4 and how do you get rid of the pin. I mean, for us competitive players, such simple pins is not a big deal, but when you pair together with much lower rated opponent, and C-Dawg's rating is about 1200, maybe 1100, I'm not really sure, then it's a bit different. So knight e7 was played, bishop e3, and here, yeah, Alex gave the command bishop, and I think he was hoping that Tubbo was going to play bishop b7, but instead, yeah, he played bishop g5. So we grabbed that bishop, immediately went back, couple of easy moves, queen e2, rook b8, defend the pawn, b3, knight f6, but here I rushed slightly. So normally there was something we discussed with Connor before the games, is that once you have a material advantage, you want to trade. You want to trade as many pieces as you can. So I should have told him knight, right? If I would have told him the knight, he would have realized, right, so it's most likely knight e5, you trade off the knights, then Alex would have said the knight, and Tubbo would have the difficulty understand that he has to avoid the knight trade. So I set the bishop, and I wanted here C-Dawg to play bishop f4, just to improve on the e5 idea and trade off the pieces, but he interpreted this as, let's sacrifice on h6. I was like, no, first I think I played rook e1, and now bishop h6. I was like, oh no. But okay, at least we have 3 pawns extra, but it's no longer an extra piece. And this is something, yeah, I should have talked a bit more with my teammate, is that normally when you're doing great, you don't want to complicate matters. By the way, this moment is going to come back and haunt us at some point later. Remember, this bishop takes on h6. So I tried to go for the attack. Rook e6 was a great move. Queen h5, queen f6. No, something totally hilarious happened here. I simply blundered the knight on c3. I did not see it. I did not see the knight on c3 is under attack. I was like, okay, let me just play rook e1, etc. They were like, wait, the knight is hanging. And this was pretty hilarious because Tubbo at this moment was researching his options, and he was showing visually on the board where the queen can move, and he was naming all the squares.
There was just a move being played, rook e1, and this now loses a knight. Will Tubbo now take the knight? Queen takes c3. Did we hear
Why
queen?
retreat when we can push forward?
And he did not find it.
Turn the game around! But
So after queen takes on c3, white still keeps the large advantage after knight h4, but we are not up a piece, we're down a piece. So that's a major shift, no? So he did not find it. I played knight e5, I kept simplifying the position, trade. Okay, the pawn on d5 goes, no problem. c4, the idea of c4, this was by the way a very impressive move by Connor. I thought that he's gonna pick up knight h7, rook e3, knight f6, and h4, h5, h6. This is what I wanted. And I wanted again to reach him in a position where it's easy for him to find what I want to say. And he was doing it really well. After knight f6, I said the knight, he traded. I said the king, you need to activate the king, a pawn, a king. Everything was really great. And we are cruising towards the victory. And something funny happened here. So he played a4. Like, my idea was, I mean, you push the pawn, put the rook behind it, sacrifice the h-pawn if you have to, and then easily win the pawn endgame. And he played a4. I was like, oh no! No, this complicates matters. What about rook b8 and rook takes on b3? I was already ready to play h5. And I think this is what Alex also wanted. So he said the rook, and Tubbo played rook e5. So, and at this moment I was so surprised by the turn of events, I simply missed the rook trade. Yeah, rook g5. I was so relieved he didn't play rook b8, I just said a pawn, and now I realized, wait, I could have just traded the rooks. So we proceeded with the original plan. White is easily winning this. Check, check, f4 takes here. And Connor was playing really well. And now the difficult moment. He should have played g5 first. Instead he played f5. And now something crazy happened. Now this was the moment when I made a mistake. At this moment, after d5 I said automatically a pawn. Takes, and now it's draw. The point is, actually I should have let the pawn stand on d5. Look at this. So king e3. I make a progress. I ignore the d pawn. I am not sure if Connor would be ever able to pick this up because it just ignores the d pawn. And somehow, white advances to the queens and collects the queens and pawns. So that's the big difference. Here, after c takes, the same line no longer works. Because he can just play d4, king f8, I try to advance, he promotes, I promote, but I cannot collect those pawns anymore, and my king is more exposed. I think it's a bit too much for this level, but still I thought it was pretty amusing. And here Tubbo immediately blundered, he took the pawn, and yeah, we just cruised to the victory. So there was not much to see. Connor was like, he immediately showed how to build a ladder, and that was the main. All right, and finally, the final. The final we had to play against Team Benjamin Bock against Ronnie Berger. And this also was the team that had won all their games in the group section and the semifinal. And that's the team we did not really want to face because also C-Dawg said very, very impressive. And I was not really sure what is Ronnie's rating, but he was making some very good moves. And I think Ronnie then said he's rated about 1000, but it felt like he's definitely at C-Dawg's level, maybe even more. Like he was making, again, some very, very difficult moves. We were playing with the black color, so we decided to play the Sicilian. This was part of the prep. And in the prep, we mostly expected bishop c4. Like, bishop c4, this is the move which is often played at the club level, some Grand Prix attack, etc., d3, should castle, etc. And bishop b5, I had it in the file, but naturally, Connor did not check it, or he forgot. So I said a pawn, I wanted him to play g6, and he played a6. I was like, okay, it's not a big deal. Right after bishop takes on c6, I'm not sure which pawn takes, we're slightly worse, it's okay, it's okay. Now something happens. Now Ronnie plays bishop a4. I'm saying a pawn, I mean, just like that, up a piece in the final. So I think what happened here is that Ronnie simply mixed up some lines from the Ray Lopez. Like for him, this probably was the same, and after a6 you play bishop a4. Even though after the match, Benjamin said he said You always take on c6 in these positions, never retreat. So it's basically the same. I'm saying to C-Dawg, you always take on, you always play bishop a4, and he took on c6. So yeah, it's understandable at the club level, people can mix up stuff. And just like that, we're up a piece. So took it. Here Connor made a very good move, e5. I was very proud of him. Knight c3, knight f6. Benjamin said d3. I think he wanted to have d4 on the board. Bishop b4 was a bit too aggressive, blundering knight b5, but none of the players noticed it. I wanted black to play bishop b7, but again, maybe this was a bit too difficult, because before the tournament I had instructed Connor, always focus on development first, always bring the king to the safety, so knight x on b5 is quite difficult to find. So knight e2 was played, castles, knight g3, d5, yet another impressive move, bishop g5. Again, I gave the command bishop so that we avoid all kinds of pins. Bishop e7, take it. And Ronnie correctly understood that he has to avoid some trades. Bishop g4, h3. And now this is the part which really impressed me. Here, C-Dawg played bishop e6. I thought this is definitely not a 1200 level move. I thought you definitely want to take on f3, right? You want to simplify. But here, he understood that the bishop is probably stronger than the knight. So I was like, oh wow, you definitely have some talent. So white played rook e1, queen d7, even though I wanted queen c7, not to ignore the pawn, but okay, he missed it. But it actually worked in our favor, because after bishop f6, I said bishop, Connor picked up bishop b2, I said the knight, Connor picked up knight c3, takes, knight e4, rook c8, queen c1. So Buck is trying to complicate matters, and I'm thinking we are very close. We are very close to win this. And now I made a pretty stupid mistake. So I'm thinking, how do I tell Connor to simplify the position? I should say the bishop. And when I say the bishop, I mean bishop d5 or bishop f5, right? But also, if I say the bishop, maybe he's going to look at the pawn on h3, especially since he already did this in the semi-final match. So I'm thinking, should I say something else like, and probably that was the smarter choice, should I say something like a pawn? Like, but again, which pawn? Maybe he's going to play g6 and forget some fork ideas in the future on f6. So I was not really sure. So I said the bishop. I was hoping he is not going to take on h3. Oh man, he did it. I was very unhappy to see this. Queen x on h3, rook e3. Now it was time to retreat, but here I already felt it's a 50-50 potential result. Like we have an extra pawn, but no longer an extra piece. So of course, you're not supposed to sacrifice a piece when you're doing great, right? So he gave a check. He blundered the exchange. Actually, I was not very stressed about this exchange blunder because I thought our bishop on c3 is just as good. And here I made another mistake. I should have said the bishop and give him a clear command that he can go after the pawn on c2. But my idea was I wanted him to trade the queens so that he knows he has to push forward the a pawn. So I said the queen, just take on e3. He didn't do it. I said the queen, I want him to trade the queens. So he did it. We activate the king, I say a pawn, and I mean a5. I want him to play a5, a4, a3, a2. Had he picked it up, I think he would have won the match. Even though the engine says that white is slightly better, this was our chance. He played g6, I set a pawn, and he played b4. Oh, now this is looking pretty bad. And here Ronnie was picking up some very good moves. h5, here, rook e8, d4. So I wanted to signal somehow to Connor, you have to go to defense, rook, put the rook behind the pawn, but he did not understand it. He played rook e2, rook d1, a great move by Ronnie here. Definitely was playing fantastic chess. King h6, yes, the wrong direction. I want to move the king closer to the d pawn. And after this, we're done. Yeah, there was nothing we could have done. And I was hoping until the final minute here that Connor is going to play rook b2, d7, bishop here, promote, and we can still try to play this position. Which probably is lost, but at least there's some practical chances. But unfortunately, he played rook d2, and after that I knew, yeah, there's no chance. We cannot save the match anymore. And a couple of moves later, yeah, here white was pretty accurate. We found some tricks, by the way. Almost H-Pong got promoted, but yeah, Y did not forgive us anything, and we lost. So it was what it was, you know? But I was very proud of what we did, and I think that me and Connor, we made a very good team together. And he was quite unhappy about the final. He said, I let you down, etc. I was like, come on, Connor, you played well. We were also quite lucky in the second round. Could have been also a different result in the semifinal match had our opponents picked up the defense. So it is what it is. But you know, overall, it was just a mind-boggling experience. So, I mean, the chance to play on the big stage at Twitch Rivals. By the way, I was the very first time at Twitch Rivals, first time in Netherlands. I already knew some of the content creators like Dina Belenka I had met before, etc. But meeting the other guys and girls in person, meeting Anna Cramling, it was an experience of a lifetime. So once again, I would like to thank Anna for the opportunity to invite me as one of the brains to the event. And I hope that this format is going to continue, because if you're going to watch the full video on Anna Cramling's Twitch page, you're going to see it was a very, very chill atmosphere overall. Big audience listening, cheering, etc. Live commentary. We could not hear the commentary during the matches, even though I think who was it, Dina, who said that occasionally she could hear Anna, oh no, it's a blunder or something like that, and the opponent would react differently. I didn't hear a thing. Like also C-Daw didn't hear a thing because we're so in our games that we did not hear a thing. So it was a fascinating event, and it was fun. It was fun. So thank you for watching, and of course, as usual, you already know the drill. If you enjoyed my video, please press like, subscribe to my channel, write your comments. Did you follow the live coverage of the event? I was also streaming on my channel. And so what do you think about it? So thank you for watching, and have a great day.